Hello guys, so today I'll be showing you how I changed my pool light, and it was a little bit different case in mine. We just moved here, and my light was bad, and as you can see this bulb was inside was bad and wasn't working, so I decided to change that and put a LED bulb in there. So this is the bulb that I had in there, and there was some corrosion at the bottom. Seems like the moisture was getting in from somewhere, and the bulb was not working. So this is a 75 watt bulb, and I decided to change that, and I did a lot of research on which bulb to get, for LED. So I ended up finding this particular one. It's made by Feet. I don't know how to pronounce that, but it's a 700 lumens 75 watt equivalent. It's a 12 volt system, and I think it only uses 9 watt. So a lot of people use this in their pool system, so I end up ordering that from Amazon. So feel free to get this one as a replacement for this particular one. Anyways, going back to my housing assembly, so I did a lot of research and I could not find any information. This particular light is called HiLite from Pentair. And my initial thought was that I have to remove this piece from the front in order for me to get to the bulb, and so I did that, and I was wrong, because what I was doing was I was searching for this seal so I can replace that seal. But the way the Pentair make this particular HiLite is you do not touch this part. This part is fixed and factory sealed, so this piece should not have been removed. But anyways, that was kind of like too late for me. The way you change the bulb is you remove the bottom piece. So this piece at the bottom is twistable. You can twist it and change and take this whole thing out. This is the O-ring that you have to replace anytime you're replacing the light. So this is the old one. This is the replacement ring that I got. Now, since I had removed the top part, this housing is no good anymore, because there's no way I can get this perfect seal back on. Impossible. So this thing is tossed. So now I was thinking, hey, am I gonna have to replace the entire light? But no. So this is just the top housing. Again, all Pentair, they were no help. I found this on Amazon, and this is a perfect replacement for what I had. So, oops. So these are all the model numbers that I had on there, exactly the way it is on my light. And here is the O-ring that you have to replace it with. I was able to find this. Sometimes you just have to add two zeros on the front or 2 zeros at the back for you to find the product number. This is the O-ring that I got. This O-ring basically goes on the back side, not on the front side. So you can see the front side is sealed. I'm not even going to touch that front side. It's all sealed, and the bottom piece comes out from there, from this one, and goes onto the back of this one with the new bulb. And of course, with the new seal you have to put on. And this is it. This talks about the bulb. MR16 is what I end up getting. This is also MR16. The way you take this out is you grab this, hold this, and then just twist this piece in a counterclockwise position, and I'll see if I can show it to you guys. Okay, so I twisted it counterclockwise, and you can see it's coming out. And I had taken it out before, and this piece comes off. So as you can see, it's empty, and this is what is there. And the ring, the O-ring, goes right here. And make sure you guys use some kind of O-ring lubricant. This is the one I'm using. Do not use glycerine or any kind of cosmetic product on the O-ring, because it's going to go bad. So I'm just going to put some O-ring sealant on here. Just stick this in. Make sure you wipe off any water residue, and then you should be good to go. This is what it looks like. These are two prongs. It goes in this way. It's an AC bulb, so there is no polarities. Doesn't matter which pin goes where, and that is how it looks. All the wiring is, you can see it's epoxy. It's holding all that wiring in for it to be waterproof. and that is it. Okay, so this is the setup. I put the o-ring, I put a lot of lube on there, the o-ring lubrication silicone, and what I also did was put lube all around inside, and especially on those tabs. There are two tabs, so just to make sure, don't go all the way in, just the corner that will be covering the silicone, and just make sure there's no water or any kind of thing on the bulb. Everything is dry, and I'm just gonna put this back on here and turn it clockwise, and that will lock the entire casing. One recommendation I'm gonna give you is when I tried to put this on, it wasn't going in, it wasn't fitting in, and I was just scratching my head. So basically what I found is since these housings are new and they're made of plastic, you know, there are some imperfections inside. So let me show you. So as you can see, there are plastic pieces, you know, so you might have to just take a knife and like clean it up, you know, around it if you see any plastic popping up, you know, because if you don't clean that, that's going to be an obstruction for it to be going inside here. So this needs to be nice and smooth and clean. So I did that, and then again I applied some lube on inside just to make sure, like, you know, it's all covered up. And then once it's nice and smooth, you can just put it in and twist it clockwise. At the very bottom it says align closed arrow with mark on the housing. So this arrow needs to be aligned on the housing, this arrow right here. And if you align these two, all these tabs are going to go in just perfect. So that's just another tip when you're putting this on. The third tip I'm going to give you is when you're putting this on and when you're tightening this clockwise, the way it did it for me, it was in 3 steps. So the first step kind of stopped, and I thought that was it, and I was like, let me try it a little bit more. So I give it a little bit more tug, and it went in further, and on the third one it kind of made like this a little bit of clicking sound. It was like more like a soft click, and then it wouldn't move any further more. So make sure, guys, you go all the way in. You want to twist it, and you want to make sure there's no gaps between the housing and the case right here. And that is one of the biggest thing, you know, because if it's not tied properly, the water is going to go in. So I put my housing in and I put it in the water just to make sure there's no air bubbles coming out. You know, you can have minor ones here and there, of course, you know, but gonna make sure there's no significant air bubbles just coming out. So I see one coming right from here. That's not good. So that means the water is going in, so this housing is not good. See, I see water in here, so there's a leak on this particular housing. So this is not going to work for me. I'm gonna have to take this whole thing out. So what happened there, guys, was this seal was leaking, and there is no way you can repair this. I mean, if this seal is leaking, then it's broken. So this is my very first light, and that was one of the issues that I ended up popping this out, thinking I have to replace the bulb, moving this. But this is a permanent seal. This new one, the seal was leaking, so obviously not good. And this is from inside. There was no leaks from the bottom when I replaced it, so that tells me that this ring at the bottom was good. Anyways, I end up getting a new light. So this is I mean, not the entire light, but the light fixture, and I replaced it. And I'm going to do the same test, put it inside the water and see if there are any. Okay, so do the same test. You're going to submerge in the water and look for any air bubbles coming out. And of course you can have some, very little bit, but you shouldn't have like crazy, you know. I mean, it's normal because there is always air trapped on the side. Sorry, there's always air trapped on the side and stuff like that. So that is normal, but even a little bit from the side is okay, but it should stop at some point, you know. So as you can see, I had some coming out, but eventually it's gonna stop. And that is what you want. If the bubbles keep coming out, meaning the water is going in, and that's why the bubbles are coming out, because the air is escaping. So now you can see it's at a good point where I don't see any bubbles.